Well, welcome back, guys. It is Saturday morning. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for being here. So, yes, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and some changes and things that we're going to be doing here to the program, and we'll explain why. Some of you probably clicked on this video at random and probably thinking, what in the world is this? There's a little red X or so up there at the top. Just go ahead and click that. But this video and what we do here, the Collectors Radio, the program that we do here, are strictly for all the you guys that are continuously watching every week. I know you know who you are. We always read your comments and get feedback, and we share comments with one another. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. No particular order. Again, you know, like we normally go through. If your comment was not read, it either came in after production of this program here that we did, or for some reason it got held back, or just too rated R for what we do here. Okay, so first one up we got from Shane. It says, good morning, coffee and hangout as always. Gosh, I'm sure looking forward to that Hackathorn special 1911. If there was a guy who deserved to have his name on a custom 1911, it is Ken Hackathorn. Also, his 1911 is really nice. It is really something to see. People's take on the ideal features for the 1911. Thank you for the review of the extractor removal tool. It is a great idea. I do also kind of wish it was made of brass as well. It is certainly interesting and looks like it does make it a lot easier. It does, and we were talking about that little Dawson precision made tool that I picked up, and it was actually from a comment that I had gotten when I was talking about, we did a video. It's kind of hard for me to remember some of the ones that we do, because we work on production on a lot of videos throughout the whatever month or so, and as they get processed and looked at and make sure everything is kosher with them, then we go ahead and they get published out. So I got to kind of go back and think when you know, like, because when they're being put on the channel, it's one thing, but I got to kind of remember back when we did it and what we were doing. So, but that one there, we were talking about removing the extractor of a 9mm 1911 slide, and how difficult it was when you're trying to get that extractor out. You almost, like, I don't like going in there with a screwdriver, even though the man himself, Bill Wilson, literally just took like a punch driver and just drove his out. Of course, you know, the guy that can just whip up another slide like that from a $4,000 1911, sure, go ahead, right? But people like me that, you know, work like a slave, you know, that's a lot of money, and we don't want to damage what we have. We cherish, you know, what we have. Not saying that other people don't, but I mean, I can't exactly just replace something like that with ease or easier as some others. So somebody commented and they said, did you know Dawson Precision makes something that will make it easier? And the guy's name is Pistol Pete, is the one that commented on there. So definitely, hey, you know, thanks. That's what it's all about, sharing information with one another, not trying to hold back anything. All right, Tin Man, guns and knives are just kind of go together. Just kind of go together. Yeah. I'd like to see a video highlighting that sweet knife you open the total tool package with. Thanks. That one there is actually a very old vintage Italian-made stiletto or switchblade, whatever you want to call it. I love those things. I have a soft spot in my heart for them because always seen them in films. I used to live in a state where you literally could not have them, even though I really always felt like it was kind of silly, because really, who cares? I mean, what the heck? I think that's just one of those old mentality of, my gosh, you push a button on that knife and, you know, but no, that's a very old vintage Italian knife, probably from the 60s, I would guess. I bought it in a knife shop. Actually, I traded in a knife shop for a lever leto that I had that I traded out. I got that one and another one that was a honey horn style that was actually broken that I repaired. So maybe one of these shows will break out some of the switchblades that I own, because now that when you move to a state that totally allows them, fair game, right? All right, Warren, thanks again, mate. The information you have provided has helped me a lot in deciding the brands, calibers of what I want in a 1911. Have a great weekend, mate. You know what? That's awesome, and it's so cool because I get a lot of I've been getting people from Australia that has been watching, and I'd love to visit Australia. Man, I tell you, what I always end up watching like videos on like the animals and stuff that are over there, like the wombat. I mean, that there's a video of this guy that has a wombat. He's in Australia, and he's showing him like, and he's got this ear of corn. He's like, and this thing is just rough. And he goes, this thing is like a ball of muscle. Like you can't, like it's really hard to just, So there's certain, and of course the kangaroos. I always thought that's such a neat animal. The kangaroo is, and the fact that people were going out and literally boxing these things, that has just always cracked me up. And of course, you had all the people, like ones that I've seen on the TV shows and stuff that were literally from, they got famous in a sense, like Killer Willard, Roger the kangaroo. I guess with Roger, this guy rescued him from the pouch. I guess the mother unfortunately got hit by a car, and that was, what a sad thing. But he rescued Roger, and he became kind of Roger's daddy, if you will. So, but really cool. So I'm gonna have to definitely visit Australia at some point. All right, Danger Man. I love your letter opener. I commend you on trying a new product without any preparation. Just need to work with it and get more comfortable. I remember watching Cobra in the theater, and that scene when Stallone cleaned his 1911, I could tell it wasn't a 45. I remember being disappointed. Use a real 1911. I'm older and wiser now, and I have my opinions on the great caliber debates, but I would consider that trivial because I encourage more people to take up shooting. The more friends we have, the better. Yes, I at one time, I would when I was getting into 1911s, if it wasn't a 45, I didn't even want to touch it. I just said no. I don't even want to. But now, I mean, my favorite of all time is a 1911 9mm, and I don't, and I'm not one of those guys. I don't do things to impress other people. I don't buy something because it's worth a ton of money. I buy it solely because I'm interested in it. It's a cool factor in it that's got something to do with a film, because I'm a huge movie guy. I love the movies. I can't get enough of old school films and stuff like that, of movies of yesteryear, because they just don't make movies like that anymore. But yeah, that's where I'm coming from, a lot of it. So I really don't care. In the end, it's not that you're trying to you say impress somebody with oh wow, look at this I got. No, in the end, I'm the only one that needs to be impressed with it, because that's my money that I'm spending on it, that I worked really hard on making, and then you're the only one that should matter to it. I don't think that you should be buying things to impress other people. Just saying. All right, not going to get on my soapbox or anything, but all right, Joe P. Swig of coffee for Joe. All right, great video. Thanks, and I'm still pretty timid when it comes to taking down my 1911. I appreciate any company making tools to make it easier. Absolutely. I definitely got to say that tool was worth it. For a total investment of like $20, I always round it up. $20. Yeah, I've done worse with $20. Like go to McDonald's. All right, Joe Bowers. Have you had any reliability with your EMP 4-inch Ronin? Question mark. I don't have the EMP 4-inch Ronin. I did not want that one because of the proprietary magazines. I like standard 1911 magazines. I was going to get that gun, but when I saw that it didn't take the standard 1911 mags, I passed. Mine is a commander size for whatever that's worth, for saying the Commander variant Ronin. And no, I have not had any reliability issues at all. If I did have a hiccup, if I recall, it's mainly because of my hand loads. Probably were underpowered. I will say this, that Ronin does like a decent punch when it comes to the 9mm, so got to crank up that powder charge a little bit when you're doing it. So, but no, I have not had any issues. It's one of my favorite blasters to take to the range, without a doubt. I think that lightweight Commander is the perfect package in that whole deal. All right, I've been thinking about getting one, maybe the 3-inch version. I've seen videos of people having issues, especially with 3-inch version. Okay, that goes back to that whole thing where, speaking of, like people like Ken Hackathorn and whatnot, where they're talking about when you start shortening that slide and that problems coming up and everything when you start shortening that slide. There is something to be said about that. They talk about things like the dwell time. The dwell time between when the round is fired and the slide goes all the way to the rear. Then at that moment, had the rounds having enough time in the magazine to jet up to where they need to be, slide coming up to strip that round off and everything. Bill Wilson himself has talked a lot about that. He made his very smaller compact ones work, so because that's actually his favorite. But in regards to your question, that has been I've heard that a lot. When you start going to smaller package deals, it really, I think, that tests the makers of 1911s, if you can perfect that. And I know that Bill Wilson has perfected that. I've never owned one. I've come close to buying one, but I've never owned one. I always also felt that in 45, it's probably quite a handful. Although, check out I Carry One, his channel. He's got a really cool officer's model. I think it's called the Defender. It's a Colt, awesome gun. His is a 9. He's got some videos of him shooting it, and he has had zero real issues with his. Of course, he does have a Colt, so that's another, Colt, Springfield, are kind of my top favorite companies out there. All right, Sean, good Saturday morning. I had to pick me up one of those tools as well. Looking forward to more in-depth video on it. Yes, we did post that up. That is up there. And it went actually smoother than I thought. I'll give you guys a little behind the scenes footage of that. When I'm actually taking that tool, that paint can opener, and popping that extractor out, it shocked me when it came out and did it so smooth, because one, anytime you're doing a video with something, everything and anything will go wrong. The minute you hit record, it's going to go wrong. Something is going to go disastrous. But that one went about as smooth as it can be. That was a one-take deal. We didn't have to kind of retake that video. That literally was how it is. And going back and explaining like why I did the full unboxing right here on the Collector's Show for you, and took it out and actually showed it, fumbling around with it and everything, because I wanted to be real. I wanted, that's the whole thing about when I started making videos. I didn't want things that were overly edited, fake, and what you're seeing is the 100th time that we did it or anything like that. I wanted everything to be raw, real, right there, like you're sitting there or standing there with with us doing this stuff. And that's what I wanted to show you. As a consumer, what was I looking at? Everything went from what I saw in the picture on their website to pressing order, getting it, opening it up, and trying it out. The picture is kind of weird, but they did kind of do their best to explain how it works, and hopefully what I explained in the video, if you end up with one, it explains it better. All right, so back to this. He looks like Harrison Mantooth was tuning in late. Stan was tuning in late, so he said good afternoon. Had too many errands to do this morning, so I missed you this AM, but I'm having a cup of veteran-owned black coffee company, Second A coffee, as I watch this video. Good stuff. Great stuff, he says. Thanks for demonstrating the extractor tool. I'm looking forward to the in-depth decision on this tool. Question, I have my eye on a great looking S&W K22. They're asking $899. Your thoughts, please. Take care, Stan. To me, that's a pretty good price if it's in good shape. If it definitely is in good shape. Being it's a revolver 22, Stan, I would definitely check the rim, open the cylinder and check the rims real good with a flashlight. And I would almost, because I've had way too many experiences with this. If somebody dry fired that a lot, there will be pecks all inside the chamber, and where the firing pin has struck the edges of the cylinder, which is very common. It could cause it to start misfiring on double action. That's the biggest headache with a 22 revolver, as you'd almost say you're going into it with the opposite notion of like saying, hey, it's a 22 revolver, this thing will eat anything. Correction. I've had them where they're fussy. You go click, 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 bang, click, bang, click, click, where it's like, what the heck? It won't fire these off. I've had ones where they'll shoot like Federal, no problem, CCI, a little bit of a problem, all kinds of weird stuff. But definitely make sure that it has not been dry fired a lot, and the firing pin nose is possibly damaged or worn, or doesn't have the chisel point like it should anymore. I think the Smiths might have had like just a round firing pin. But as long as it's in good shape, because those K22s are expensive. They're usually over $1,000. Normally when I've seen them, they're anywhere from between $1,000 to $1,400 on the high. So I'd say $899 is probably in a little bit of a sweet spot for the price for it, as long as it's good. And if it had its original grips, certainly. And make sure that, like I said, those chambers around where the cylinders are, where they lock into place, I would make sure those are not damaged or anything like that. Too bad you can't I wish these places would allow you to test fire them. I would love to be able to take a couple different brands of ammunition, test fire them in a whole double action. But of course, that's wishful thinking. That'll never happen. All right. Hey, Pistol Pete, there he is. I believe you're the one that talked about the tool. Practice makes perfect. Yes, it did. Hey, and Lead 8541 is in here. Interesting little tool, Lead says. Glad to see Lead was back. Lead, one of my favorite channels as well. Great channel, great stuff. You never know what you're going to get with Lead, especially my personal favorite is Lead making the candied bacon. But always doing some really cool barbecuing stuff, but it's good to see Lead back. I was a little concerned because I haven't seen a lot of videos from him lately. All right, Jeffrey Richardson, watching late afternoon. Again, had to work today. Work is no fun. All right, Squib. I believe you're Squib Load, but you know what? That's kind of cool because they got 1911 for your code. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but you kind of got lucky there. Your code is 1911. I don't know if you know that, but that's awesome. All right. Morning. Got my Arbuckles, Arizona this morning. Yeah, that's right. Arbuckles is an Arizona coffee. Listening in while doing some video editing. All right. And you know what? You had that pancake syrup, that Fruity Pebbles or something pancake syrup. Man, I looked for that at the store. I couldn't find it. Not that I need any more pancakes and stuff like that, but hey, what the hell. All right, Reloader. Yes, it's Saturday morning, 6:15 a.m. Good morning to you all from the city of Dallas, Texas. All right, we got a reply there. Harrison says, and good afternoon to you from northern Idaho. All right, and good morning everybody from Arizona, where we are experiencing a heat wave. I can't wait till cold season's coming, but it is coming. Okay, we're in August. And that's the other thing we're going to talk about. I'm going to start kind of keeping track of these episodes through a date code on them. So most of the time, I think what you're going to see is every Saturday morning when it comes up, the title, we may have a title for it or we may not have a title for it. I'm not sure how we're going to go about this. But like in this case, we're not going to title it what I'm actually going to show you guys, because I feel that those of you that are watching these and tuning into this program that we do every Saturday morning, especially those of you that literally stayed here till 19 minutes, going on 20 minutes into this, you guys are awesome. Everybody here that's still here, tuned in for the whole duration of this stuff, you are awesome, because with all the stuff, the analytics of people's channels and how it works, basically my video retention, audience retention is like 30 seconds. Like, people are literally turning the videos off in about 30 seconds, except for you guys that are still here. So that's why I keep doing this. I certainly don't make any money off of this, anything to even worth mentioning. The money has been like next to nothing, and it has been like that since it started. So don't ever think that any of us is getting rich off doing this stuff. And then I was never in the intention anyway to make money off of this. I just was amazed that we had gotten an audience and a following that we did when we started doing this stuff many years ago. I mean, going on 10 years. This is literally, we're on the 10-year stretch here. Come July next year, we'll be 10 years doing this. I can't, that's insane to me to think that. But we're not doing it for the money. I don't try to advertise this channel like some other people, like, you know, where they're, and I mean, whatever, that's what they want to do. That's what, this isn't my job. This isn't my, you know, I'm not trying to make this my job. So I don't, you know, I'm not going to go through and advertise on Facebook and post my videos on Facebook or anything. I don't even do Facebook. I tried for the channel's sake, and I gave up on it. I got kicked off of it. They banned me or for some whatever. I don't even want to deal with that. So just no. I don't do Instagram. I don't do anything. I don't even answer my emails. I don't even know how to get into the email most of the time anyway. So there's that. But like I was saying, what I'm going to start doing is the things that we're going to be talking about on the radio shows and things we're going to be sharing back and forth and stuff like that really is for the exclusive club here that we've got. That those of you that are actually willing to, that are sitting through this and enjoying this and hanging out with everybody, me and you know, everybody in the comment section. That's why we read your comments. You are part of this show. You are a great big deal of this show. With your comments and your questions and things, and feel free to ask these questions. It's you are part of this show. You are what makes this show happen too. So don't feel like you know, you're just a listener or somebody who tunes in. When you comment, your comments and things that you may do in the show dictate what the next show or what the next episode is going to be as well. So so don't feel left out. We definitely want to make sure that you're involved in everything and all that. So, like I said, the shows are probably going to just say like Collector's Radio with a string of numbers, and those string of numbers reflect the date it's aired, basically. Or every now and then, yeah, I think we'll pop a title. Like the other one, we had to pop a title on it where we said, does this tool really work? You know, and we're just throwing fun stuff out there, fun things like that. So, but anyway, also what I wanted to show, which is, this is actually for the gun enthusiast. Hopefully, if you're watching this episode, this is the original set of earring muff things that I got, that I won from his giveaway many years ago. Man, the gun enthusiast and myself, we go way back, man, brother. We've been there. So this is the original set that I won from his giveaway. Seriously, this is it. I still have them. I still use them. I won this in his giveaway, and they're still here, and I wanted them to make another appearance because, man, this is so cool. That there they are. They're still here. They're still kicking. They still work. You know, they're old. They're getting there, but I even all the way out here, went from the island of Hawaii all the way out here. They're still here, and I used them in my job when I was working at an indoor gun range. I used these, so there they are. They're still going, and so. I just, you know what, I just had to bring those out strictly for him, because, but now let's get this out of the way. All right. I actually got some things to share with you. There's a couple movies. Those of you that are tuned in, that are the movie guys, These are released by Kino Lorber. Also, I do have another channel that I do where I talk about movies and stuff mostly. But this is actually, I'm just going to share this with anybody that's movie buff. These just got released on Blu-ray. This is Heat with Burt Reynolds. This is not one of Burt's better of the movies, but definitely one that if you're like me, I'm a huge Burt Reynolds fan. This was definitely one of the ones that I really enjoyed. Came out in '86. This got re-released on Blu-ray by KL Studios. Whenever I'm going to the record store, I go to this section, KL Studio Classics, because they have been going through and releasing a lot of cool titles like this, and Heat is one of them. He's he gets mixed up. If you haven't seen this, it's worth seeing once at least. But I'll go ahead and read what's on there. Nick Escalante isn't a violent man by nature. He's just good at it. Protection is his business, especially when it comes to his friends. That's right, Burt Reynolds. Heat doesn't get any hotter. That's a cool one. It just got released again. So these are always, you never know how long these releases stick around, so always jump in on them. So that was one. For a while there, that was not in print. I have an older DVD copy of mine, and by the way, I do not get rid of those old DVDs because it's always scary to think whenever they re-release stuff, there is that hint, that slight chance that they've taken segments out that you may not even realize until later. So having older copies of stuff is always worth keeping. All right, the other one here is 52 Pickup. Same company, KL Studios. 52 Pickup with Roy Scheider and Anne Margaret. Roy Scheider is one of my favorite actors that I totally feel like he's totally underrated. 70s and 80s, man, he dominated. He was just awesome. Of course, he is always known for Jaws, but he did a lot of other movies that were really cool. This one I felt was a sleeper film. They kind of slid by that not everybody saw, perhaps. 52 Pickup is one of them. The other one I'm still looking for that I can't, if I ever find, is Last Embrace. All right, 52 Pickup came out in the 80s again, 86. Directed by John Frankenheimer. This is a really interesting one. He's a little older in it. He's getting there. So, but really cool stuff. Also, if you like a high power, Browning high power, you gotta check this movie out. But that's another one they got released. This was actually released once on some other company had done a releasing on it. It's stupid expensive. People were charging like $100 for it or whatever. Now it's out. You can get it on Amazon. I think it's like $20 or less. So jump on it if you like that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to break out those two new titles for you. All right, moving on. Okay, so this is, in this bag we have another kind of, in a way, the culmination of stuff that I've been doing. All right, we'll get it out of the way now and then we'll start talking about some stuff. Got all the paperwork in there, and you probably know already what we're talking about. Wilson Combat got another one in. So this one here is the Wilson Combat Hackathorn Classic, or the Hackathorn Special. I got this one in 9. And as always with all the Wilson stuff, it is just unbelievable quality. Unbelievable quality. Armor tough finish, gray frame, of course, black and slide, with the Hackathorn signature and logo right there on that side. Their front cocking serrations, which I think is a little bit different than what's on his. This one also has 40 LPI on the bottom of the trigger guard and 30 LPI in the front strap, as well as the mainspring housing, which is also a one-piece blended magwell, completely just beautifully done. Also, the blend job between the grip safety and frame is superb. Serrations on the back of the slide to reduce glare, which is also matches up with the extractor itself, including the rear of the slide, which is the Vickers Tactical square notch sight with 2 tritium inserts, including the orange outline with the middle of the glows that I do believe that's a Mariglow sight that I do believe actually has been designed by Hackathorn himself. So interesting take on that. It's an ambi safety. Even though I'm a left-handed, but I shoot mostly right-handed with these things. I'm not a fan of the ambi safety. It's kind of strange, I know, because being left-handed, it's almost a must. But on the Wilsons, I don't mind them at all because it's a low-profile thumb safety, which I really like, because I'm not a big fan of all that extended stuff, because I feel like it gives too much of an opportunity to accidentally click them on or whatnot. Also, Wilson Combat's done a slightly extended magazine release. Not so extended where you can accidentally bump it and eject your magazine onto the floor on accident. It's extended enough to where, man, it really, you get spoiled once you have one on your 1911. You get spoiled with that. That definitely becomes a you really get spoiled by just having that. It's just extended ever so much enough to where it makes that much of a difference. And then when I go back and shoot one that doesn't have it, I noticed. So, all right, ball cuts for the slide, strictly cosmetics. You know, that ball cut there really looks nice. It does sharpen it up. And I have grown to be such a fan of the top flat serrations on there. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the old traditional GI models all the way, but when you have something like this, it's called dolled up like that, souped up, it's just awesome. They did flute cuts on the chamber, on the barrel hood in a sense, but I heard, you know, just for debris to gather up and, you know, kind of have a place to go, a channel to go, and strictly pretty much cosmetics. Front flush cut barrel to the bushing, which is a reverse crown, also protects your rifling and stuff in case the gun takes a lick. One thing I'm a really big fan of is the standard barrel bushing, or the not barrel bushing, but the guide rod plug, the recoil spring plug. Traditional way to take it down. I'm a big fan of that. So I don't like I'm not a fan of the full length ones, or I don't like the bell where they funnel the end of the barrel out. Some companies can do it with taste, where the bell is not so bad, and what that is so it's a bushingless lockup system where it locks up on the barrel. Wilson does do those as well. And then there are some companies that literally took the front of the barrel and just made it like a big funnel. I'm not a fan of those. They look goofy to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that looks so stupid. That's just me. I mean, I'm not really so much about like the functional or whatever. I'm just like, hey, how cool is it? Like, is it cool to have something to do in a movie or something? All right. So the other thing over here, the slide release takedown here, where you take it down to clean it, everything. If you notice, it is recessed in there. I will say this: I'm not a fan of that. I'll be the first to admit that. I understand where they're coming from by doing it, but I'm not a fan of that. I really don't like it. To me, it makes it difficult to take down. I don't know why, but this one here, when you go to take it down, also the takedown notch is really tiny, and it's underneath the beveling of the slide. It's underneath there. It's ever so small. I don't like that either. I wish it was more prominent and there, so that when you do take it down, it's like there's no mistake that it's there. Those are the negatives for me on this thing that I will say is a negative for me, because I feel like when I'm taking it down here, I can get it part way, but then it kind of gets a little stick right there. And I usually take the end of one of the ramrods, cleaning giant Q-tips is basically what they are, and I pop that out. And I use that because the end is wood; it's not like metal or anything. So in order to clean that thing, so I have to pop it out. Of course, I outfitted it with my own grips. It's just basically me copying Ken Hackathorn's grips, which is the ivory style with the sunburst, or the, starburst, whatever they want to call it. With the gold medallions there. All right, so that's it. So it also, you got the whole rundown sheet. This thing is not cheap. We did complete production on some videos with this thing. I got two videos of it. One is pretty extended, where we go through the bag and all the goodies and everything like that, which you'll see there. Basically the spec sheet, everything that it has on it, which we'll go through for you, because you guys are lucky and you're awesome that you're staying here for over half an hour with this video. So basically, yes, you got the Armor Tough Commander model in 9mm, titanium firing pin, the checkering on the bottom and all that ambidextrous stuff, high grip frame modification, and all these kind of really cool upgrades on this thing. So it is there with all that. And of course, this stuff runs you some pretty pennies when you get all these kind of things done to it, but it is totally worth it. These guns are hand built, handcrafted and everything. They include the target in there that they shoot with it, including the test sheets, the checklist, the quality control checklist. I mean, come on, look at this thing. Slide, the frame fit is good, reasonably tight. Barrel lockup with no drop, proper slide and barrel clearance in the flange. Barrel pistols, locked slide stop removes and reinstalls correctly. Case head spacings, feed ramp, gauge checkings, feed ramp and barrel throat gap checks. Barrel throat is properly cut. Feed ramp is properly cut. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Final assembly, test fire checklist, final inspection. I mean, and every single one of those initials, and they include this stuff in your package. I understand that also with these, they're not cheap, definitely not, and you got to pay the money for them. You really do. But I tell you, I will say this from my experience, they're worth it. I can tell you that they are worth it. They're worth every penny of them, every penny that they charge for these things, because they're phenomenal. Again, the only person that needs to impress and make sure that is happy with it is me. I didn't buy it to go to the range and say, hey, look, I got a Wilson. I didn't buy it for that. I bought it because I wanted it and everything, because I spent a lot of time reading all this guy's books. Long before I even bought any of his pistols, I was reading all of his books constantly. Combat customizing and all that before he even, this stuff that he was doing. Because I was always very interested in, as I was getting into 1911s, I was always interested in, well, what is this Wilson Combat stuff? I mean, really, is it worth it? Early on in the early days of my 1911 fanatic, getting crazy about them, I always did say, well, I don't know about some of those ones that they cost that kind of money. I don't know about those, but I may have not have always said it, but I always thought to myself in the head, I'm not opposed. I would love to see somebody take me through and show me where all that money is going and why. And actually, now that I've got one and I own one, I totally see where it is, where the money is spent, and what you're getting. Just when you hold them, when you feel them work the slide, you already can tell the quality's there. Also, what got me really interested in this stuff is reading this guy's book, literally Gun Guy by Bill Wilson, and his Michael Bain, which helped him write these other books here. But reading is basically, it's this autobiography talking about where the company came from, where he came, how he came about. What an awesome thing. What a humble guy. What I feel like, what I like about him is the fact that he did this because he wanted a better gun himself, not to make money. So, and I know I'm sounding like I'm a big promotional for Wilson Combat or something like that. But trust me, I'm not. I don't get paid by anybody. I'm not that lucky. But I'm just speaking to you. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm talking to you as a consumer, as somebody that spent their hard-earned money on it, and how do I feel about it? Some people talk about diminishing returns and all that. Yes and no. You can also look at it this way. Diminishing returns also reflects on things like, you could have your, I'm not knocking them, you take your polymer Wonder pistols and whatnot, you take them to, you spent, $700-800, $600, whatever, into like go get a loan from a pawn shop or something. What do you get? $150, maybe $200 if you're lucky. So you want to talk about diminishing returns, the dice is rounded all together. I can probably walk in there and get well over $1,000 for this. Is that what it's worth? Hell no. But I get a lot more money than you do, or than the other guy taking in something else and only walking out of $175. So I'm just putting it in perspective. But I can say this from somebody like myself that owns a couple of them. They are worth it. I'm not afraid to spend the money on them because I know what I'm getting in return. Also, over the years, I will say this: I've been in the gun business for many years, since 2009 or so. I've done very good with myself with it. It has done good for me. It has definitely, it has helped me throughout all this to get access to stuff like this for a little bit more cost effective. Also, credit cards help, layaway helps. So to get there and work out all this kind of thing, so not everything is easy, but it depends on how you go about things in life. And I say this, I'll tell you a story. There was somebody that I'm not, I don't want to, because it's a matter of not divulging all the private information on this individual experience that somebody had. Somebody had a friend that was terminal ill on cancer. What they did was, you gotta think, that's it. They got terminal cancer. It's done. You have an expiration date, and you pretty much have you're probably given hey, this is what you got. So that being said, what they did was they sat at home and they ordered off of one of those shopping network things, a bunch of jewelry stuff, gold-plated stuff, whatever. In the end, the ultimate thing happened. They passed away, and they left all the stuff that they bought. Most of it's still in bags. The other person, their friend, was looking to try to see what it's worth, and she said to me, "Well, I guess it's not really worth anything." I said, "No, correction. That is worth a lot, because you know what? That person, your friend, that was terminal, this brought her happiness and made her days better. What days she had left, this stuff made it better, and did something for her that it brought some sort of enjoyment to her in life. So you know what? This stuff is priceless. It is worth every penny that she spent on it, and that's the end result. This stuff served its purpose beyond." That's what I'm getting at. We only go around one time. How you spend it and how you want to do it is entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. I do everything in life for myself. Everything I do is just steps to how do I make myself, how do I better myself, how do I better my life, how do I better my future. If things like this make you happy, run, don't walk. It's all about you. I don't care what somebody else thinks. I don't care if somebody thinks that that's insane to spend that kind of money on something like that. Guess what? It only matters here. So that's it. We'll end it here, and we'll tune in next week. I appreciate everybody hanging out and tuning in. So, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.